everybody. Welcome to the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And Sam and I have a special guest with us. And Sam, you'd like to introduce you?
Zane Spurlock. He's the head coach of the girls and boys swim team at CHS, and glad to have him with us.
Certainly are. He's a CHS graduate.
Yeah, it's true. Excited to be here.
Zane, we're happy to have you. And when you were a swimmer at CHS, what was your specialty?
When I swam, I was a sprinter. I swam the 50 and 100 freestyle. I went to state my junior and senior year. But yeah.
What year did you graduate?
It would have been I graduated in 2018.
Uh-huh.
So just a few years ago.
That's great, yeah. Well, you've been in water quite a bit.
I have. Yeah, too much, honestly.
So a lot of these kids on the team now have known you through cast and you being on the high school swim team. You know,
like I think a lot of my seniors were actually my seniors now. They were about middle school when I graduated. So and like there were a few people who I know when I was like it's about junior and senior, and when I was swimming club, I know a lot of those kids were just starting club, kind of younger in middle school, sixth grade, stuff like that. So it's a few of them I've been really close to. I already knew them pretty much.
Well, that's great. Yeah. What's your record?
The season so far, my girls are undefeated, I believe 5-0, and my boys are 1-3, I believe, because I know the girls had one that the boys didn't, but yeah.
You had Centerville shortly, and then I see you in the swimming.
Yeah, I did.
In the swim pool for some reason.
I got peer pressured into jumping off that diving board, and I knew because they used to do it too. Because this year was the first year we've done it since COVID, the pink out meet.
Sure.
And I always knew that Daryl used to jump in the pool all the time, and I knew they were going to do it to me, and I didn't bring a change of clothes.
Oh.
And it was bad. It was bad. I wasn't ready for it. I was on that bus wet.
You might explain what that's all about.
So pretty much what we do with Centerville, because their coach, he used to coach here, Dan Ridenauer.
Sure.
Love that guy. He's awesome. And pretty much us two teams, we kind of sell T-shirts.
Okay.
And the competition is pretty much whichever team sells the most T-shirts, they pull in that money and they all give it to that town's cancer society.
Right.
And so this year, Carnesville ended up winning, and so all that money went to us this year. And then normally at the end, everyone gets pink T-shirts. The home team of that year gets the darker pink, and this year we were the lighter pink, but yeah, that's always a really great time. And then at the end, coach just get peer pressured into jumping off the diving board and hurting ourselves.
That alternates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every other year, you get to do that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not sure that's the proper way to describe it or not.
Yeah, but it's always a great time. Everyone always has fun, because I think the year after I graduated, they actually dyed the pool pink. I don't remember if it actually turned out pink. I think it was kind of a weird color, but I wasn't there for that one. And this year we actually Centerville bought pink glow sticks, and we kind of turned the lights off, kind of said a moment of silence kind of thing. And we all chucked in the glow sticks. It looked pretty good when the lights were out, but as soon as the lights came back on,
it was impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
It really was. It really was.
I think next year we might buy a little more, because I think this year they bought 100, and I think next year we might try to split $250 a piece. And so it's just full of, and then we have to clean it up after.
For those watching, I'll describe that a little bit. The teams lined up down both sides, the lengths of the pool, and they turned out the lights, and they had their pink glow sticks, and then threw them in the water, and you could see them in the water floating down. And
yes.
It was pretty neat. But my question then and now, how do they get all them out of the water then?
I don't know. I don't know. I was like, what
was it your problem then?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Next year when it's home, it'll be my problem. I'll probably just have a game to see whoever gets the most. You get something. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, I think next year we'll just get a lot more glow sticks, and we'll just, as long as it doesn't go into any vents for the pool, we should be okay.
Did you swim all 4 years at CHS?
Yeah.
Okay.
I started in middle school. My mom just kind of signed me up without telling me for middle school, and then and here we are. But yeah, I swam all 4 years. I had a great time. It was a blast. I loved every single person I swam with. It was definitely, they're just amazing times, amazing memories.
It's what I've observed, a real close-knit group of kids. I mean, like you don't see sometimes in other sports. That they cheer each other on, and that last guy that may be slow and the last one, they're all there to cheer him as well.
Yeah. It's always a blast. Just everyone always ends up being super close together because we're practicing so much. We're here, like for example, this morning we had practice this morning, 5:45. We had to meet Saturday. We're here. We wake up super early. We practice together. Then afternoon, we do another 2-hour practice. So we're pretty much together all the time. And everyone's tired. Going through these hard practices. It's just good to have a good group of people to help support you through that.
Sure. You have a lot of volunteers, don't you? A lot of the parents help.
Yeah, a lot of parents do help, especially during the meets and stuff. We always need timers and stuff, and parents are normally always there to help out with I got that, whether it's concession stands, timers, kind of stuff like that.
Sure. Does Sam attend the meets?
I try to.
Yeah.
Because he has a grandson.
He does.
And Cooper's doing pretty well. Cooper Harvey.
Yeah, Cooper's done really well this year. I think this year we wanted to try up some different stuff on what he wanted to swim. So we've been kind of tinkering with that kind of throughout this first half of the season. But so far he's done really well doing the 200 freestyle, 100 fly. I'm trying to think of different ways I want to do relay since I don't have a lot of boys. I can only get one, maybe 2 decent ones. And then I just kind of we need to figure out how I want to do that, kind of go into the back half of the season.
It's kind of hard, I would think, with that limited number because you got to set out a race or two before you can just jump right back in. You can't
I can't
do
just
every
rapid fire someone.
No.
They'll be mad at me. They'll be giving me faces. But yeah, I have to be really kind of particular with how I want to do things and make sure I'm giving everyone the best chance that they can because I don't want to put someone in a relay and then have them have to either hop out and do a 200 freestyle, like a 50 sprint, or say if they're in the 500, they hop out of that 5-6 minute race and then do another 50 sprint right after. But yeah, there's just little ways I have to kind of look at things. I don't have a lot of boys, so I have to kind of pick and choose on where I want who, or who I want where, and then just kind of stuff like that.
Do you see some boys coming on from that will be in high school soon through the CAST program?
Yeah, I think I have 3 or 4 pretty decent kids coming up from my middle school team. I didn't have a lot for this middle school team, but I had a lot of those kids did different sports, and I told them to because most of the time they'd either swim that fall and then hop out and just do cast until March. So I'm like, go ahead and try different stuff because I know once they get to high school, the sports are different or they're not in the same.
They're not in sync, and it makes it hard, I think.
Yeah, so I was like, feel free, do something else you want, because I really like my kids do other stuff. I don't really want them just swimming. I like when they just swim, but I'm not going to just be like, hey, just swim. I like them to do other stuff, whatever makes them happy.
What's a good number for a team? How many?
How
many girls do you have?
I have about 16 girls.
Okay.
I think I have 8 boys. I think ideally, I think the ideal number, I think I even have a small girls team. I think ideally it's kind of around that 20 number for both.
Really?
Would be ideal because each there's 12 events and I can make 3 entries per event and everyone can swim 2 individual and 2 relays. So ideally to just kind of fill out the entire thing, around that 20 number. But even then because this year we have a bunch of divers this year, and we've never had as many divers as we had. And so how pool pretty much works is I have 3 lanes, 2 lanes in the middle just for diving because we can't really swim in there because they're diving.
Sure.
And then 1 on the outside. So then I'm down to 4 lanes, and any more than what we have already is just lanes are just packed. Then we're kind of just running over each other. But I think right now with the pool, it's an okay number because if I had any more, there'd just be chaos at practice. Because there's be so many people.
Speaking of the pool, there's been talk that it needs upgraded or a new pool with 8 lanes so that
nice.
we could host tournaments.
Our pool's getting pretty old, and it's kind of getting to the point to where it's not being as best as it could be.
Yes.
It's pretty outdated, but yeah, that'd be great. Even to just kind of change it, or just kind of build a completely new one would be ideal. But yeah, it's not. I'm not. It's not my money. I'm not the one paying for it.
That's not sure.
But yeah.
your thing. It
But,
has to-
but we go like down to East Central, new pool there,
Yeah,
and
because that's the first time our high school kids have swam at that brand new pool. I mean, me personally, I love it. I think it's great. Some of them say it's kind of hard to get out of, but that's perfectly fine considering it's a brand new pool. I think it was 8 lanes. I might be wrong, maybe 10. But either way, it was gorgeous. A brand new scoreboard, its own separate diving well just for divers, 2 boards. Over the weekend, they actually did synchronized diving at this EC Relays, the thing we go to. And they've never done that before. And I was judging for it, and it was great. It was. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was just nice to watch them because they were just really good divers, kind of going at the same time. It was very fun to watch.
Quite a facility, huh?
Yeah, it's nice. Their East Central's old pool was kind of like ours. It kind of just needed to be done with. And they built that whole brand new one. I think they just concreted the old one and made it into something else. but yeah, that brand new pool's super nice.
Well, hopefully.
yeah, they spent a lot of money on that
hopefully
thing.
somebody leave a bunch of money or something.
yeah.
New Pal, I know
New
we've
Pal's
been over there for
another
sectional, and it's nice.
gorgeous facility.
Franklin is amazing.
Yep.
Center Grove's amazing.
There's a lot of
But
amazing
there's more
pools that
money
we
over
go
there.
to. Yeah. But all those are just amazing pools. All those are pretty new. And you can change those. I think some of those places have two pools, in it. Its own separate diving thing. So there's 3 or 4 pools in some of those places. But
Well, maybe in the future.
yeah, maybe down the line.
And we hope you're still the coach there.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You, speaking of coach, you've got a pretty good assistant with you that
Yeah.
knows a little bit about it. He grew up swimming there.
Yeah. Adam Kelly, he's been a blast. He's been blessed to have. He helps me a lot in the mornings because in the mornings we'll do like dry lands, like workouts in the weight room and stuff. So that's been really nice for him to be there helping out with that stuff, and that gives me some time to making lineups or make the afternoon practices. But he's been great. He's been a great help in the weight room and in the pool, helping me out. But yeah, he's been a blast to have.
Give us a practice idea. What happens at a practice, and when do you start, and when do you begin, and when do you end? And
This year I kind of, because they get out at different times than I did in high school. Some of them get out pretty early, and so I kind of moved the practice. So we'll normally start at 3:45, and then we'll get nice like 15 minutes of stretching, and then we can hop in and do like a nice 2-hour swim.
that's in the morning.
Oh, this afternoon.
Oh, in the afternoon. Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, that's early.
I mean, no way, huh?
I know. But then we do a nice 2-hour swim, nice warm up. Then we'll probably, I normally start it kind of hard off the start, and then like last 30 minutes just working on kind of like little stuff that I saw throughout the week that we need working on. But in the mornings we start at 5:45. We'll do a nice like 10-minute jog or stretches or kind of stuff like that, and then we'll be in the weight room doing different stuff. Kind of until about 7:10, 7:15 is where we normally end. And then some kids either go home, go shower real quick, and just come right back to school, or some kids just stay.
Okay.
Just stay.
So keeps you busy, man.
Yeah, they're there a lot. They're there a lot. It was kind of the same way when I did it through high school. I was, what we would do, we would go to morning practices. We'd all get in 4 or 5 cars, and we'd go to that VP gas station and just grab like donuts and Mountain Dew, and then we'd go like right back to the cafeteria and eat it together.
Breakfast of champions.
Yeah, it was so good. It changed it.
And
changes.
there's a lot of practice before the season, and kind of year round if they really want to stay on top of it.
Yeah, because normally I'll do some open swims every once in a while in the fall, but once winter starts, winter goes all the way through about late October till about mid-February, and then cast will go till about mid-March. So some kids do. Some kids get their like divisionals times through kind of high school season. So those kids will get done with their sectionals or state, take like a week off, which I'm like, yeah, do it, because that's a lot. And then those come right back and finish out like that last month or so. But
could you explain? I hear tapering talked about tapering before the sectional. Explain that.
So pretty much how it works, it's kind of like a season-long process of how I've come to understand it, is that we want to kind of start kind of slow, kind of get the body used to it, and then once you get to around the Christmas break practices that we're coming up to in the next few weeks, and the kids are dreading it, is it's just these really hard practices for about 2 weeks, and then kind of toward the end of the season you're kind of stepping it down a little bit, but then once it gets to these 2 weeks out of sectionals, Then we're doing another probably 2 or 3 days of really hard practices, and then it kind of just gradually just steps down and down and down, and then by the time the prelims and finals come around, you're at like your body's peak like conditioning. So and because like I can see it like kind of as soon as they're doing it, like as soon as they start to get like those little more and more like easier days, then they're just hyper, they're just loud, they're just being goblins pretty much, and but yeah, it's kind of amazing to see because like once we get to sectionals and stuff, just kind of like the atmosphere of it and like how hard they've worked, then they'll just start dropping a lot of time.
Sure.
Once it comes to it.
Tournament time, what about, it's a pretty tough time, isn't it?
Yeah, because we'll have conference like early January, which that's pretty big, but once it comes to sectionals, because it's only, for swimming, it only goes sectionals and straight to state. And because there is no regionals or semi-state or anything.
Sure.
And so how it works is you either win the event, which is very hard, because, Greenfield Central girls have cleaned house for the past like 20, 30 years. And, Mount Vernon boys, who won last year, they've been really good these past few years. And so you either win the event or make a state cut that is, I think it's averaged off like top 16 from last year's state. So it's those two very hard conditions to make, because it's either you get it or you don't. So, but everyone works really hard. I think the biggest thing I want for my boys this year is I want my boys to be on the podium. I think a lot of them has kind of hovered around like that, like that 9th, 10th spot. And I think this year a lot of them can finally break into that top 8 and get on the podium. For that final heat so they can get that recognition they deserve because they really work hard pretty much all the time. And I really want them on that podium to be like, hey, I did this finally.
Well, that's a great objective. Yes, I hope the kids are successful. Yeah.
Who you mentioned Mount Vernon and Greenfield Central. Who are some of the other schools that feed into that?
We will be at New Pal. New Pal's one of them. Centerville's there. Eastern Hancock's there. Shelbyville's been really good recently too. We don't swim them during the regular season, but I really want to. I really want to soon because they also have really good sprinters that I really want to put my sprinters against. Trying to think. Newcastle's there. Newcastle's really good. Newcastle really normally has like a lot of good distance swimmers. Those 500 and 200s. I think I'm missing one. Richmond's there. Richmond boys are really good. They've really been good the past few years. I know they've been updating their pool actually, so they've been swimming at Centerville in the mornings.
Okay.
Or in the afternoons. One of the two. But yeah. But all those teams are really good. Even if they're like on the smaller part, their teams are really small. Everyone normally has like 1 or 2 really good swimmers that will always be in the top 8. So those are just ones you got to worry about when it comes to like placing and seeding. But yeah, pretty much everyone does a really good job, and everyone's there to compete. So you can never really be kind of safe with never really have any safe bets most of the time. But.
Well, it's a big business, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it keeps you busy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm at the pool a lot, especially with high school because I did middle school too. Middle school was okay. I think I only had 6 kids for middle school, and that was through about October. Then high school started, so then I'm there in the mornings and in the afternoons, and then CAS started up, so then I'm there another hour and a half at the end. So normally I get to the pool around like 2:30, and then I'm there till about 7:30 or 8.
And the middle school has swimming, don't they?
Yeah.
But they swim in the spring.
Yeah, they do in the fall.
Okay, in the fall. Okay.
Yeah, but this year they did okay. I didn't have a lot of kids. I think I only had 4 girls and 2 boys this year, and I had like I had 3 or 4 boys who swam club, and none of them swam on the middle school season because I was like go do different stuff, but still those kids did a really good job, considering just statistically, you're not going to win any meets with 6 kids, but they still came into it, they tried really hard in practices, tried to better themselves, they had a really good time doing it, and that's kind of all I kind of wanted from that. Because I wasn't going to take it, extremely serious, but I just wanted them to have like a really good time doing it.
So numbers a big key, isn't it?
Yeah, because like like when I swam, there was like one like class that had like 12 or 13 kids, and that was like a really big one, that everyone kind of looked up to. And once then once they left, it was kind of a little smaller. My grade wasn't super big. There was probably like 4 or 5 of us, and then like it seems like it's kind of going down and down, just little by little. But yeah, looking at it, we have a bunch of great swimmers. Like we might not have a lot of quantity, but the quantity is really
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
It's like I have some great kids. That everyone works super hard. I have like the culture I have is really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone works hard. Everyone's like pushing one another. I don't have to do like the worst thing I do is kind of have to just yell at them to like, get in the pool, even though the water's cold. I'm like, just go, come on, we need to get going. But that's kind of the hardest thing I do. But all of them they work really hard. They're really motivated. They all have goals that they want to achieve, and they'll work for it too.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you survived your swim the other night.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I know that water was cold.
And cold riding home if you didn't take a change of clothes.
No,
Wow.
I know. It was a mess. But and it was the first time I jumped in khakis, so that wasn't a good time.
say we want to talk basketball for a minute. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Sam
fine.
went
Yeah.
to Pendleton Heights, visited Connersville on Saturday night, and went home with a loss.
Pendleton Heights did, yes.
Yeah.
And it was a close game until fourth quarter, and we ended up with a double-digit win.
Mm-hmm.
Their coach got a technical on them, and not sure what happened, but we went to free throw line, and Lucas Barron able to knock down the free throws, and we got the ball back, and all of a sudden we're up 10, and that kind of spelled their doom.
Yes.
As then we were able to spread it a little bit and make them come after us. It's a
That's
very good
highlights
team.
from the game at Spartan Bowl on Saturday night. So let's watch the Spartans play the Arabians right now.
Good crowd on hand. They had the Christmas extravaganza at halftime, Sandy and the Spartanettes. So that brought a lot of people in. But pretty close game throughout. I thought we played well. We played much better than we did the week before on the road at Shelbyville. Of course, there's no place like home to play.
Sure, right.
But there's Josh knocking one down, and he was our FCN Bank Player of the Game. I forget, he had over 20 points. He's leading the team in scoring. So, but you got a lot of other capable guys as well. There's Taco letting one go. So it was good for them to get back above 500, and because this weekend they got a tough schedule this weekend with
Yes.
South Dearborn here, and then travel to Richmond, a much improved Richmond team. And I always want to talk about the 2 R's every year, Rushville and Richmond. We've beaten Rushville. We got to beat Richmond as well. Right there, late in the third quarter, we're up 3, and that's just kind of how the game was. Pretty close until that fourth quarter. So Lucas had a good night as well, as they did all of them. Good ball movement right there. James Williams underneath. Coach talked about him. He plays center, basically, but he's not a center. But he plays much taller than he is, and they sure bang on him. There's Lucas with the free throws on the technical.
Pendleton Heights always has a good team.
They do. Now they came in having only won one game, but they've been in a lot of close games, like with Anderson, who's one of the top-ranked teams in the state.
Right.
And there's the final right there.
Yeah, it was a good win for CHS.
It was.
Now they're 3-2 on the season, and this week, as you mentioned, they've got South Dearborn coming, and they're 5-1. And
Pretty
then they play Richmond on Saturday, and Richmond plays Indianapolis Tech on Friday night. So we don't know exactly what their record will be until they they get here. And the girls had a good week.
Good
They've won
week.
3 ball games. And
3
lost.
ball games, won 2 out of 3.
Right.
And came back. I understand they played the same time the boys did on Saturday night, and I was getting updates throughout the night. And they were down quite a bit, but came back and scored a lot in the fourth quarter, and I think fell by 5. But
yeah, very close to Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, it was about a minute to go. They were down 5, and you can win a game when it's 2 possessions like that.
Absolutely.
So. But they came up a little short. But they're playing better. They also have South Dearborn this week in that girl-boy doubleheader, and we'll have both those on the radio back to back.
Yeah. The Lady Spartans are 6-6 on the season, so that's okay. Yeah.
Hard to believe that season's half over.
I know. They beat Hagerstown and Newcastle past week, and lost to Lawrenceburg, as we mentioned, which is a tough team. Which is a tough team. Let's check the schedule for this week for CHS. On Monday, the freshman basketball team will be home with Franklin County, and the middle school red team will be at Rushville on Tuesday. Co-ed swimming, right, Zane?
Yep.
Okay, so co-ed swimming with Newcastle, and that'll be at the CHS pool. The middle school on Tuesday has basketball. The red team will be home with Richmond. The white team will be at North Vernon St. Mary's at North Vernon. On Wednesday, the gymnastics practice preview night. That'll be at 6:30 in the high school gym. That's not in the new gym, but in the older high school gym. On Thursday, the middle school red team will be home with Greenfield. The white team will be at Greenfield. The freshman basketball team will be home with East Central. On Friday night is basketball doubleheader. Spartans will be playing at Spartan Bowl at 6 o'clock with the girls, and followed with the boys at 7:30. And then on Friday night, the Spartan Arena will be the scene of the JV boys game. So that's how that will line up. And on Saturday, it will run through South Dearborn here, and then a co-ed diving on Friday night.
Yep.
And you have
we'll have about 4 or 5 competing in that one.
okay. Then you have a regular meet on
the day after.
That's the Easter. Is that the conference?
It's kind of like a small invite that we have.
Okay.
Between like 3 or 4 different schools.
Well, that'll be good. And then the Spartans will be playing basketball at Richmond, as we talked about, on Saturday night. So a busy schedule for Chase Sports this week.
That it is, and 10:30 start time for you guys Saturday morning. Is that right? So,
Right,
Good.
early.
good. And you got how many teams coming?
I think 4 other teams, so there'll be about 5 total. But this kind of a small. It's our first kind of meet in like a championship format. So it's kind of based. Numbers aren't as big of a deal since everyone's only allowed 3 entries. So so I think my boys will do really well. I think my girls have a good chance to win it. It's also the girls' first chance at seeing East Central for the first time in like a real meet setting. So because then for conference, the big championship meet, it'll be either us and East Central, kind of battling it out. So it'll be a good chance for my girls to get a good look at them and kind of see how we want to go forward with that.
Looking forward to it.
I know, I'm excited.
Sounds good. You're on the right track, Zane.
Thank you.
These kids are going to be okay for you. Yeah, I think so, right. We want to thank Zane Spurlock for joining us tonight. Head swim coach at CHS, and it's been a real pleasure to meet you and have you talk about your team.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you.
Thanks everybody for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Good night.